White House trade advisor Peter Navarro has accused India of being a laundromat for Kremlin and said that New Delhi does not need oil from Russia. Breaking news coming in from the United States, he said that India does not appear to want to recognize its role in bloodshed and is causing up to China or Xi Jinping is what he said. The White House trade advisor has gone ahead to accuse India of not creating peace and further perpetuating war. He's also further gone on to accuse India of cheating on US, which is why the United States has imposed trade tariffs. Now, he's also taken the Maharaja drive at India and has said that the US has imposed Maharaja tariffs on India. Now, Navarro has said that he thinks that the new tariffs will come in effect on August 27th. Of course, Navarro's statements come as External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar was in Moscow and called the US's logic behind the tariffs perplexing. Remember that S. Jaishankar has called out the US's hypocrisy and has said that India was not the biggest buyer of Russian oil.
The Indian situation is very interesting. A lot of people don't know this, but prior to Russia's invasion of Ukraine in February of 22, India bought virtually no Russian oil. Let me say it again. Prior to the invasion of Ukraine in February 2022, India bought virtually no Russian oil. I mean, it was like 1% of their needs. So the argument somehow now, as the percentage has gone up to like 30 and 35%, and then they make refined products, which they sell at premium prices into Europe, Africa, and Asia. It's strictly profiteering by the Indian refining industry, big oil. Now, think about India when you think about the tariffs we're putting in place. 25% because they cheat us on trade, 25% because of the Russian oil. I ask you this. What is the net impact on the Americans because of our trade with India? Well, let's think about it. They have higher tariffs. There are Maharaja tariffs, higher non-tariff barriers. We run a massive trade deficit with them. So that hurts American workers, hurts American businesses.
We are not the biggest purchasers of Russian oil. That is China. We are not the biggest purchasers of Russian LNG. I'm not sure, but I think that is the European Union. We are not the country which has the biggest trade surge with Russia after 2022. I think there are some countries to the south. We are a country where actually the Americans said for the last few years that we should do everything to stabilize the world energy markets, including buying oil from Russia. So quite honestly, we are very perplexed at the logic of the argument that you had referred to.
Well, on this, my colleague Vishal Vivek joining us on the telecast. Now, Vishal, of course, we heard Peter Navarro as well as S. Jaishankar. Help us understand the implications of this comment coming from the United States. As of course, yesterday we saw S. Jaishankar was in Moscow and he held extremely crucial talks.
Well, the point to note here is that August 27th is the deadline for the second stage of the tariffs to kick in, the 25% more that were levied just a few weeks ago. So this comment indicates that the US is serious about going forward with those tariffs. That would bring the total to about 50%. That will have to be seen, of course. It's just a few days remaining. But the tit for tat between both the sides, the top officials, continues. And the comment from the US side conveniently comes at the same time as the S. Jaishankar comment in Russia yesterday, in which he clarified that it was the US side that had encouraged India to buy more Russian oil in order to stabilize the global market, because experts have suggested that if India had not bought Russian oil at reduced prices, the global market, the global oil market could have crashed, could have shot up, the prices could have shot up, could have touched the sky. So the argument that India buys Russian oil and that in turn finances the Ukraine war it does not hold any ground. So as soon as this comment was made, Peter Navarro, the US trade rep, came out with this attack on India and says that India charges quote-unquote Maharaja tariffs. So that is quite objectionable, and I'm sure the Ministry of External Affairs will respond to this comment and put things into perspective.